Hello again, friends. Welcome back for another video in End Time Prophecy. In this video, we're going to look at the beast of the sea and we're going to name the kingdom. So you ready? Okay. Let's refresh our memory. Revelation 17:9-10 says, the 7 heads are 7 mountains. Those 7 mountains are 7 kingdoms. That's why they have 7 kings. These 7 mountains, the woman sits. Revelation 17:18 tells us the woman is a city. The Bible confirms that woman is Jerusalem. This woman sits upon 10 empires. They control her. They conquer her. Okay? 5 of these kings have fallen, and 1 is in the day of John. And that 1 is Rome. The 7th kingdom had not come yet and is not in the Bible. So we must use the breadcrumbs that God has left behind to identify things such as who the woman is. The Bible tells us clearly who the woman is. Now we know the woman rides these mountains. Who was the first mountain? The Bible tells us who the first mountain is. It's Babylon. It continues onward. We use those breadcrumbs and we can come up with a conclusion of who these 7 mountains are. Here's a timeline. You'll find this on Jerusalem Timeline on a Wikipedia page. It has events from as far back in recorded history as is known up to present. Not just who read who ruled who. Here though, we're focusing on which kingdoms possessed Jerusalem. And it covers from the time of the Canaanites down to present day Israel. We're only going to discuss things in regard to these 7 mountains. I'll include this link in my description as well as the slides. Check all my descriptions for a link to the slides. That way you can use them for study material and you can use them for teaching material. Here are the 7 heads that possess Jerusalem. Starting with the first, the Bible confirms that the first head is Babylon. The second head is Persia. The first beast is the lion. The second beast is the bear. The 4th beast is the kingdom of Macedon. The leopard had 4 heads. The 3rd head is the Potomac. The 4th head is the Antagonid. The 5th head is the Seleucid. The 6th head is Rome. 5 have fallen and 1 is. So we know the Rome came from the kingdom of Macedon. Did it come from the kingdom of Macedon? No. The scripture says from that nation, that people. Japheth, Javan, Javan, was a son of Japheth. I still have yet to go confirm whether or not his son or grandson. It's in the table of nations in Genesis 10. Okay? Rome is a part of the people of Javan just as Macedon was. So that's how Rome got to be included in the kingdom of Macedon, though it didn't come from that kingdom itself. Now, the 4th beast. The Bible doesn't tell us who the 4th beast is, but it tells us it has 10 horns. We've established Jerusalem is the harlot, so we just have to look who came after the kingdoms of Macedon. And that, of course, would have been the Islamic Caliphate. Now, those are the 7 heads. The first head, Babylon, ruled Jerusalem beginning in 604 BC, though it's mentioned 605 on that site that I'm going to leave a link to. I say 604 because Daniel says in the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, which fell in 604, he was taken into captivity. Persia, Medo-Persia, took Jerusalem in 539 when they conquered Babylon. The Macedonian Empire, contrary to popular opinion, did not split up into 4 kingdoms. Rather, the Macedonian Empire split into many kingdoms and 4 generals came out on top. Okay, look at Daniel 8:8. Therefore, the he-goat waxed great, very great, and when he was strong, his great horn was broken. This is the broken kingdom, the partition of Babylon. There's another one, it's called the partition of Philadelphia. So 2 different partitions was established before the 4 notable horns came about. Hear the context of the verse. The remainder says, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. The 4 winds of heaven would be the north, the Antagonid dynasty, the east, the Seleucid dynasty, the south, the Ptolemaic dynasty, and from the west came Rome, with Jerusalem being the harlot city that all 4 possessed and the central point of the 4 winds. So let's go. The third head, Ptolemaic dynasty, possessed Jerusalem for the first time in 320. The War of Diadochus happened, and Ptolemaic dynasty actually possessed Jerusalem a couple times. The fourth head would be the Antagonid dynasty. It ruled Jerusalem in 315. I'm picking all these dates from that website, so check that website for my to see whether or not I'm accurate. The fifth head, Seleucid Empire, took Jerusalem in 200 BC. Truthfully, it's 198 BC under Antiochus III, but 198 BC, but the site records 200. The sixth head, Rome, captured Jerusalem in 63 BC. Remember, 5 kings have fallen and 1 is. That's Rome. 1 is not yet come. The 1 to come would be the Caliphate. And 637, the Caliphate conquered Jerusalem from Rome. So, since Rome was considered ahead already, the Crusader states does not count, because the Islamic Caliphate, it was their time, and they did eventually reconquer Jerusalem. The Rashidun Caliphate conquered Jerusalem in 637 AD. Let's talk about this empire real quick. Daniel 2:41 tells us there are going to be legs of iron in the 4th kingdom. The feet of iron and clay. The 4th kingdom's going to be divided. I didn't fully understand till I prepared this video. Allow me to explain. The Rashidun Caliphate was established by Abu Bakr, but Abu Bakr did not step foot into Jerusalem in order to occupy it. So Abu Bakr does not count. He just established this caliphate. Just like Alexander the Great didn't count. He just established the Macedonian Empire. The 4 heads were 4 notable horns. The 10 horns here will be those that rose out of the kingdom. But all have to conquer Jerusalem. Daniel 2:43, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. And this is why there are 10 horns. They're actually different seed under the faith of Islam, incorporated into the realm of the Caliphate. That's why there is so much disagreement among Muslims today, because they are different seed. They don't mingle with each other, even though they share the same faith. They're partly strong, but they're partly weak. Daniel 7:7. This 4th beast has 10 horns. Those 10 horns are 10 dynasties. A dynasty is founded by a king. His successors fall into his dynasty name. Difference between a dynasty and an empire is, yes, empires, it may be a government, but it has multiple family names. Dynasties has 1 family name, 1 seed. So, Revelation 17:12 and 13 tells us these 10 horns are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom yet in John's day, yet receive power as kings 1 hour with this beast. And that's why 1 head has 10 horns, and on the 10 horns is 10 crowns. Beforehand, yes, they had a kingdom, they were kings. But all 10 kings will arise at one time and be unified and rule as kings 1 hour with the 4th, with this beast from the seed that is a consolidated empire of all 4 beasts in Daniel chapter 7. Revelation 17 tells us that this kingdom itself will be the 8th, and it ascends out of the pit. These have one mind. These 10 horns have one mind and give their power and strength to the beast. Here is a list of the 10 horns. It gets a little tricky. The Rashidun does not count. Rashidun is not a dynasty. Rather, it's a collection of 4 rightly guided ones, but each of the members themselves was a dynasty. I do not include Abu Bakr. He didn't occupy Jerusalem. The first to occupy Jerusalem was Umar. Then Uthman. Now out of him came the seed that gave birth to the Umayyad dynasty. So I'm not going to include the Umayyad dynasty because we've already mentioned Uthman and they're of the same seed. The third, Ali. The fourth, the Abbasids. The fifth, the Tulunid. The sixth, the Ikhashidid. The seventh, the Fatimid. The eighth, the Seljuk. The ninth, the Ayyubids. The 10th, the Mamluks. And the little horn himself was the Ottoman Empire. Now, the fourth beast, it ruled. It was established in 632 and it ruled till 1922. That's in our day, just after World War I, right before World War II. Daniel 12:12 tells us that after the sacrifices are taken away and the abomination set up, both have to happen, but they don't have to happen at the same time. There's going to be 1,290 days. This was just one of God's markers that marks this kingdom as the fourth beast. Now the first horn of the Rashidun Caliphate, Rashidun took Jerusalem in 637 and it ruled till 661. Umar was the first. Uthman was the second. As I said, out of Uthman came the Umayyads. So the Umayyads I'm going to include with the Uthman as a second horn, though they came later. The Umayyads are the founders of the Dome of the Rock, which I personally believe is an abomination sitting on God's sanctuary. Do a personal search at what kind of things are written on the walls of the Dome of the Rock, and hear the blasphemy that sits on the sanctuary. Now this guy, Marwan, I don't really know how to pronounce it, but it's close to that pronunciation. The first was the cousin of Uthman, who we already counted. So as I said, this caliphate does not count. The third horn was also in the Rashidun Caliphate, and that is Ali. After him, this caliphate changed to the Umayyad Caliphate, which fell to the Abbasid Caliphate, who was the fourth horn. They ruled twice, 750 to 1258, and then the Mongol hordes came, and that was a mighty, vast empire and vicious. But it did not occupy Jerusalem. They moved their capital to Egypt from 1261 to 1517 when this caliphate fell to the Ottoman Empire. That's how he uprooted the original three. This is considered the golden age of Islam, but contrary to such expression, this was a time of war and conquest, lots of bloodshed. I would not call that a golden age. Fifth horn, the Tulunids took Jerusalem in 878. The sixth horn, the Ikhashidid took Jerusalem in 944. The Fatimids took Jerusalem in 969. The Seljuks took Jerusalem and maintained it between 1091 and 1095. Remember, all these dates are going to be in the timeline in the link that I'm going to leave to you, so you can check my work. Ninth, the Ayyubids took Jerusalem in 1187. The Mamluks took Jerusalem in 1260. The Little Horn took Jerusalem in 1517. Daniel 8:9. Out of one of them came forth a little horn which waxed great toward the south, toward the south, toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. Okay? I numbered them 1, 2, 3. Toward the south would be 1. Toward the east would be 2. And toward the pleasant land, Jerusalem, that's 3. I don't consider Mecca the pleasant land, but according to them, they even agree, this is a holy land to them, so it actually conquered both holy lands to them, because Jerusalem is also a holy land to the Islamic Caliphate. That being said, the little horn took Jerusalem when it conquered the Mamluk dynasty in 1517, but your website will say 1516 to 17. This is the Ottoman Empire at its greatest extent in 1683. You can find this map on Google, and all these little dates and shaded areas tell you its expansion. This empire lasted from 1299 to 1922, and it came up in this little small region right here with a small people. Hence Daniel 11. He became strong with a small people, came in peacefully and overwhelmed. This little horn came out of the notable horn of Rome. Rome switched to Byzantine as a capital, and the western half fell, eastern half survived. The eastern half controlled this region. It slowly got incorporated with migrant Turks. Among them was the head of the Ottoman dynasty, and his name was Osman, I believe. Anyways, by the time Mehmet II came along in 1453, Mehmet II sacked and conquered the unconquerable Constantinople and nicknamed himself the Conqueror. And he did not believe that he established the Ottoman Empire. Rather, he believed that he was the new Caesar. He thought he was continuing that empire. But, of course, the Catholic Pope said no. This is the Ottoman Empire, the little horn. Daniel 7:24. And the 10 horns, out of this kingdom 10 kings shall rise. We've discussed them. And another shall rise after them. That's the Ottoman Empire, after them. And he shall be diverse from the first. The Ottoman Empire was Turkish, but the previous caliphates, not talking about the different dynasties, I'm talking about the caliphates. The Ottoman Caliphate was Turkish, but the original caliphates, all three, the Rashidun, the Umayyad, the Abbasids, were Arabs. And he shall subdue 3 kings. And there are your 3 horns that he subdued. Thank you for your time. Let us continue in our studies.